And there we go. Well, good afternoon.
We're the Hernandez twins, and we're going to talk about, well, I don't know what we're going to talk about. This guy, I don't know what he wants to talk about. I just know that we have a lot of experiences, different things that we want to talk about. Like, I remember being a kid, and this guy got into a fight, or he got jumped around the corner of a house. He went riding with one of our good friends around the neighborhood, and as he went riding off, I saw them riding off, into this new community that they were building behind our place where we lived at. you know, and so they left riding on their bicycles, and I was happy to see them ride off. And then, maybe like a couple of minutes later, I see my brother coming back down in the street, coming back crying and
I
bleeding.
wasn't crying. I was just hurt. But anyways,
I saw him crying and I saw him hurt, and so I said, I he came up to me and I said, "What happened?" And he says,
I was
"Well,"
in shock because I had got jumped.
so when he came up to me and said, he was crying and he was upset, saying that he got jumped because the guy that he went
Set me up. He set me
riding
up.
with the bike set him up around the corner of a house. As they went to the back of the corner of a house, there was like 3 or 4 other guys there,
Well, there was a lot of people around.
and they jumped him off a bicycle, and then they started fighting him. And so when Arthur came back to me and said, "Hey, I got jumped," man, I ran down that street. I ran all the way down that street around that bend and went to that house where they were at, and I saw the guys there, and I said, I put my hands up and I said, "Who was fighting my brother? Who beat up? Who was fighting my brother?" And it was a friend of ours that we went to school. We all went to school together, but it was one of those things that just kind of like upset you because we thought we were all friends and we thought we was all.
Well, I put it this way: I ran. I rode my bike back to the house.
Yeah, but I'm sitting there.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
sitting there to protect my brother from what happened. So
Yeah,
I go to protect him, and I got my hands up, and this guy, whoever fought my brother, he's standing in front of me, and all the other guys stand behind him. And I said to them, I said, "Whoever jumps in, you better not,
But
because this is between me and this guy because he fought my brother."
But you're leaving out the fact that when I went back to the house, my grandfather was outside, and I told him what happened. He said, "Go back there and kick his ass."
Oh, I was already gone. I didn't even know that part. I just know that I was sticking up for my brother, and I had my hands up with this guy and all the other guys that were there that joined in with that guy. And so as I'm standing there and I'm going, "Oh shit, I'm sticking up for my brother and I'm gonna kick this guy's ass. I hope I'm gonna kick his ass because I didn't know what the hell was gonna go happen there. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I just knew that I was trying to stick up for my brother, and I was mad because they hurt him. And so
That's
I'm standing there. I'm standing there, and I got my hands up, and this guy's like, "All right, let's go, let's do this." And all of a sudden, I'm going, "Okay, here we go." My brother shows up, and I go, thank God he showed up, because I didn't know if I was gonna be able to hit this guy or beat him up. But my brother goes, "Hey, I got this," and I said, "That's right, my brother's got this, and whoever jumps in, I'm gonna kick your ass." So my brother stood up and came in. I was sure happy about that. I was sure happy about that because I was like, "Here I go. I'm gonna do it." But then he showed up. Go ahead, Art.
Well, that was it. I mean,
That's it.
that was a learning lesson. You just get into fights. But I'll tell you a good story that happened a couple years ago. I was living up north. My brother's visiting me. He's working with me, and I had hired different guys to work with us too because I had to hire a crew. So we hired a crew. Well, I borrowed a tool from this one guy. But not only that, but he was working for me for a while. And make a long story short, he after I paid him, he came back and told me that his girlfriend said I owed him more money. I said, "No, I don't owe you no more money." I said, "I paid everybody what they were supposed to get paid, and that's it. That was it." You know, uh, and so he did this, and then he kind of left kind of angry about it. And because it was his girlfriend who brought it up to his attention and said that I didn't pay him right, and I said, "No, I did pay you right." I explained it to him and everything, so he left. But apparently there was still an issue because now I'm at home one day. My brother and I are at my apartment. We were kicking back, and probably just got off work. And so, anyways, knock at the door. it was sure enough, it was that guy, and there was another guy. Okay, so he knocked on my door, and I step outside. Hey, what's up? What's going on? Nothing, nothing. Not worried about nothing.
Yeah, but he just told me in the house.
No,
Hey, that's that guy that gave you trouble recently. And he goes, yeah. He goes, don't worry. I go, I'll take care of it. And I said, are you sure?
So
And he goes,
anyways,
I'll take care of it.
I went
So he closed the
outside.
door behind him.
I went
He walked
outside.
outside, and I walked in the kitchen with my girlfriend.
So, anyways, I went outside, and so he proceeded to ask me for his tool. So it was a long, long stick, extra long stick. I mean, extra long stick, wood stick, with a saw at the end of it, a
To
manual
cut
saw.
trees with.
You know, and it was
It's
an
like
old,
a
it was
12,
old,
14
old-
foot
It was an
pole.
old one, but it was long stick with the saw. Okay. So, anyways, I better make this quick. Okay. So, anyways, and I went, got the tool. My brother told my brother give me the tool, so I got the tool. As I was getting the tool, as I gave the tool to the guy, and I said something. I turned my head and said something like this, and I turned back around, and this guy is throwing a sucker punch at me. I just seen a fist coming out my face and went, "Oh shit!" So he hit me. I kind of just went against the wall next to the door entrance of my apartment, and I went, "Oh shit!" I said, "Tony!" And I yelled my brother's name, and he come running out, and next thing you know, this other guy comes out from the view, and they're both getting ready to jump me. I went, "Oh hell no!" So I yelled for my brother Tony, and next thing you know, I'm standing there in a fighting position, and my brother comes out and he goes, looks really quick and notices that these two guys are getting ready to jump my ass. Kid you not, I kid you not. He came out, boom, 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 on each guy, each one. And I'm still standing there. And I'm going, what the fuck? And I'm looking like this. I'm going, oh shit. And then I'm following him. He's chasing the other guy out there, and this other guy's right here. And I'm holding on to this big long tool that I have that I just mentioned. I'm holding on to it, and all of a sudden there's one guy at this end, and 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 I'm in the middle, and then my brother sees the pole over there, and my brother happened to be right next to the pole, and he looked at the pole, we looked at the guy, and I looked at my brother, and I went, oh shit, he's got something going on in his mind. He was at the end of the stick over there. My brother just went, boom! He controlled the whole stick. Got that guy at the beginning over there at the end, at the beginning of the stick. Boom! Excuse me. And then with the other guy coming along, boom! Sticks on the floor. My brother's boom, boom, boom. And I see the guy who knocked on my door. And I said, oh shit, I get a punch. So I threw a punch in. And that was it. One guy started running away with some girl. And then the other guy was still standing there. And, one guy left with the girl in this car. And my brother's kind of chasing him out of the exit of the apartment. And then I'm with the other guy. And the other guy's like bleeding. And he's starting to run too because he saw me and my brother and I. So he started running. Cops were called. And I'm still standing there going, what the hell just happened here? And there were neighbors outside watching this. And mind you, I was acting manager doing landscaping of these condominiums. So these were people I've known for a long time. And they saw what happened. And the cops, one of the cops showed up, and cop gets the story from the tenants. And the cop just looked at me and my brother going, he was laughing, going, well, those guys deserved it. They came over here to start something, and you guys took care of it, right? And we said, well, apparently so. I'm like to myself going, well, he took care of it. So, anyways, the cop left. He was like, hey, I'll go look down the street, see if I can find one of those guys, and see. We told him he was bleeding down the street. So then the neighbors were out. The next thing you know, the neighbors are coming out towards us and going, what the hell was that? That was ninja. That was ninja style. Yeah. What the hell did your brother just do? We never seen anybody do anything like that. It was just total ninja. So my brother and I were kind of, all right, good job, brother. Blah, 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 blah. Hey, didn't mean we didn't want to fight, but the guys brought it to our attention, so we had to do something about it. Real quick, a couple months later, well, about a month later, maybe, I was at a smoke shop. I was standing in line, and there's a girl's voice going, "Who was that guy that kicked her ass?" And I'm just, and she had to repeat it like a couple times. And I looked back, and she goes, "Hey, it's me." And I said, "What do you mean it's me?" I don't want to say her name. So, and I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "That day," she goes, "I was there, and I took those guys to your apartment who started the fight with you guys." She goes, "I want to know who was that guy who kicked their ass." She goes, "I never seen anything like that." I said, "Oh, well, that was my brother." she goes, "I've never seen anybody kick ass like that." He goes, and she goes, "I've never seen it was, I want to meet him." And I said, "Well, I got a punch in there too." She goes, "Yeah, but I want to meet your brother." I was like, "What the hell?" Yeah. So that was the story. It was hilarious. You had to be there. I was even freaked out. The neighbors were all freaked out, talking about it for weeks, going, "Who the fuck did your brother come from? He did a ninja." I was like, "Yeah." But
That's the love for my brother.
yeah. But anyways,
That's the love for my brother.
he came out and he did his thing, and I was like, "Damn."
People talked about it for a long time.
Anyways, we got to cut it short because we're not trying to make this long. But anyways, hit our like, hit the like, subscribe, share, join our channel. We love you. God bless everybody, and talk to you later. Amen.